Okay, so pretty much I have some sort of intermediate understanding of Redstone, and I kind of just want to show how the basics work and maybe just advancing on that basics. So I'll kind of just go over the components and how they work. Of course, I'll do that throughout different videos, but we'll start off with the basics. So first thing to note is that this is a redstone torch, of course, and essentially this is a power source. Since it's a power source, it kind of acts as a battery, which can be turned off or on. Now, it being a power source, it can directly power redstone. And you can see that this can power on for a very long time. Since it's a redstone torch and it has a direct power source, it automatically gives an output of 15, as you can see from the top. So this redstone can go all the way to 15, and that is when it will stop powering. You can kind of tell when it stops powering when you see that the last redstone does not have particles as opposed to the penultimate one here. Now, an interesting thing about redstone torches is that yes, it directly gives off a power, but you can actually use it to power blocks itself, which transmit signals. So you can kind of see that it actually gives out this redstone power whilst being transmitted from this solid block. And of course, if you were to break it, it wouldn't power anymore. So this only works if there's a block on top. And this is because the block itself doesn't act as a power source, similar to the redstone torch. It just transmits the signals that comes from the redstone torch. Now, this is very useful for using piston doors because it's very seamless and you don't even see the power source while it is open. Now, you don't necessarily need redstone to actually power this piston. You can actually just do it directly from the block. Now, since I did mention that this solid block is not a power source, you won't be able to power another block on top of it. Now, going back to this long redstone wire, as we can see that it has a power of 15, meaning that you can only use that amount of redstone. If you wanted to further extend the signal, you can actually go to the last redstone that is powered and use this repeater to repeat the signal that came into it from the beginning. So you can see that this has a power of 15, and originally here we had a power of 15, hence the name repeater. Now, repeaters aren't only used to repeat a signal. You can actually use it to delay a signal. As you can see, repeaters, they can have delays ranging from 1 to 4 ticks. If we were to power this, there would be some sort of a delay in powering this piston. As compared to having no delay, which is instant. Now, I mentioned before that redstone torches act as a battery. We know that batteries can be turned off and on. Now, there may be an instance in which we want to turn off a redstone torch, but this can't be done using another power source. As you can see, this lever is on, connecting to this redstone torch, but it doesn't actually turn it off. Similarly, if we had it directly to it, it doesn't turn off at all. But the way that we turn it off is not through a power source, but actually through transmitting the signal into the redstone torch, such as passing a power source directly into a solid block, which transmits into the redstone torch and turns it off. This works on all sides of the blocks and turns off all of the redstone torches. This is useful for when you're using contraptions which you'd rather have off when you activate something. Now, it's not just redstone torches that is required to actually activate this. You can do this by using a lever, a pressure plate, or even a button. Notice how if we had a redstone torch off this transmitted block, it doesn't actually turn off because it's not transmitting the signal to the redstone torch itself. If, for example, you wanted to pass a redstone signal through a solid block, you can't do that just by using redstone. You'd have to use the repeater to mimic this block as a power source so that it can pass a signal of 15. Now, one thing to note is that we've been using solid blocks to pass through redstone signals. But it's important to know that you can't use glass to pass these redstone signals through. This is used for when you have multiple redstone wirings that you don't actually want to connect, but to make it compact, you want to stick together. So you can just use a solid glass block so that it doesn't actually pass through the redstone signal. You can also use this trick to actually make redstone travel directly upwards. So since we have this block transmitting a power, we can put a redstone and stack the redstone like this, and it travels all the way up. Keep in mind this does not work if we use solid blocks, because this block itself blocks this redstone from traveling to this redstone.